Hello, I am Reina, the new transfer. I am looking forward to working with you all. Wait, how do you know me?
That name. It's the same one from 3 days ago. That can't be possible.
But 3 days earlier, Yuji's world was still governed by logic and reason.
Come on, Yuji. You are not scared of a little fortune-telling, are you? My sister got her fortune, and it all came true.
That's called coincidence, Kenji. There's no such thing as fate, it's just a trick to take our money.
Just do it. If nothing happens, I'll buy you drinks for a week. Deal?
Fine. 1 fortune. And you are paying for it.
With a heavy sigh, Yuji resigned himself to the joke and stepped toward the dimly lit booth. Inside, an elderly woman sat behind a table, a crystal ball before her. But what she would say next would shatter Yuji's disbelief forever. The cramped booth was lit by flickering candles. Behind a small table sat an elderly woman, her eyes sharp despite her years.
Go on, Yuji. Let the nice lady read your future. I want to see if you'll ever get a girlfriend.
Please, sit. There's no reason to be nervous. The spirits are in a generous mood tonight.
Generous spirits, right? This should be good for a laugh.
Kenji dropped a few coins on the table, and the old woman's gaze turned to Yuji.
Now, young man, tell me your name.
Yuji Tanaka. But I am sure you already had that written down somewhere.
She didn't reply. Instead, she peered into the crystal ball's murky depths, as if seeing something beyond. Then, with a brush dipped in ink, she began to write on a small slip of paper, her strokes deliberate and sure. She folded the paper and slid it across the table with a cryptic, knowing smile.
The name on this paper is your future wife. You'll meet her within a week.
Right. And I suppose you've got my future salary written down too?
Yuji let out a sharp laugh and unfolded the paper just enough to glimpse a single name. He didn't bother to remember it. With a smirk, he pocketed the note and stood, ready to leave.
Come on, Yuji. At least read it properly. What if it's someone famous?
It's a scam, Kenji. The only future I see is the one where you buy my drinks for a week.
Yuji tossed a few more coins onto the table, a parting tip for the old woman's entertainment. Outside, the cold night air cleared his head, but a stubborn twinge of unease lingered in his chest.
I can't believe you tipped her. Maybe she'll cast a love spell on you now.
The only spell is the one that lightened your wallet. Drinks on you, remember?
Yuji couldn't speak. His hand trembled as he reached into his pocket. The forgotten slip of paper felt heavier than it should.
There's no way. The old woman couldn't have known.
He unfolded the paper and stared at the name, his face draining of color.
Excuse me, did I say something strange? You are staring at me like you've seen a ghost.
Reina, the exact name. This is impossible.
He looked from the paper to her name tag, and back again as the hallway seemed to tilt.
That paper. Wait, is that my name? Why do you have my name on a piece of paper?
I don't understand. This was given to me 3 days ago by a fortune teller. She said I'd meet you.
Reina's expression shifted from confusion to something unreadable, as if a long-buried memory had just surfaced.
Wait, a fortune teller gave you that? That's impossible, because I have one too.
She pulled out her wallet with shaking hands and unfolded a crumpled slip of paper, worn from years of being carried.
4 years ago, an old woman told me this was my future husband's name. I kept it as a strange keepsake.
4 years. She's been carrying a stranger's name this whole time.
They placed the notes on a break room table. The handwriting was identical, down to the ink pressure.
This is insane. It's like we've been marked for each other long before we ever met.
But who would do that? And why? We need to find that old woman.
The 2 slips of paper lay side by side, silent witnesses to a plan neither could explain.
Could this really be destiny? Or is someone pulling our strings?
Let's go. That fortune teller might still be there. We need answers.
They left work immediately and hurried to the street corner where the fortune teller's booth had been.
It's completely boarded up. She's gone.
Someone must know something. Let's ask around.
A neighboring shopkeeper told them the old woman had packed up and left only 2 days after Yuji's visit. No forwarding address.
2 days after, she vanished right after giving you the note?
Back at the office, Yuji scoured the internet for any mention of the fortune teller, but every search came back empty.
Nothing. It's like she never existed.
Maybe she used a fake name. Or she's gone underground. This was planned.
This isn't just a prank. Someone planned this over years, and they're covering their tracks.
The mystery had only deepened. They were no closer to the truth, and the fortune teller was nowhere to be found.
You said you got your note 4 years ago. Can you tell me exactly what happened that day? Every detail might matter.
I was walking home from university. I wasn't even looking for a fortune teller. She just called out to me from the booth.
In Reina's memory, a younger version of herself had hesitated outside the dim booth, an elderly hand beckoning from within.
She didn't ask for money. She just wrote my name, then his, and said it was already decided. I thought she was senile.
The matchmaker had pressed the folded paper into Reina's hand with an old-fashioned formality, as if completing a long-held duty.
She said, "You'll understand when the time comes." And somehow I never threw it away, even when it felt like a prank.
4 years ago, she knew my name. She knew you'd transfer to my company. This isn't fate, it's a setup.
Yuji's mind raced. The job transfer, the timing, the name, it all pointed to a deliberate orchestration.
But who would do this? Why would anyone spend years just to introduce two strangers?
They sat in uneasy silence, the weight of a hidden puppeteer pressing down on them. Someone had been pulling strings for years. Later that evening, Yuji and Reina met Kenji at a local bar. They needed a fresh perspective on the bizarre connection.
A fortune teller predicting your future wife? That's insane. It's like one of those old-time matchmakers you hear about.
Matchmaker, that rings a bell. My grandmother once told me about a friend of hers who was a matchmaker.
A memory flickered. A name he hadn't thought about in years. Buried in old family stories, Yuji grabbed his phone and typed into the search bar, "Matchmaker Sachiko." The screen filled with archival articles and old photographs.
Look at this. An article from decades ago. Sachiko Nakamura, the matchmaker who united 100 couples.
That name. Nakamura is my mother's maiden name. This might actually be my grandmother's sister.
The article described a woman with an almost supernatural ability to match couples based on traditional compatibility. She retired over 30 years ago.
If this matchmaker is still alive, maybe she's the fortune teller, but why would she target us?
After hours of digging through property archives, they found the fortune teller's booth registered to a Sachiko Nakamura.
That's the same woman from the article, and her registered address is a house in a coastal town.
A newspaper clipping showed a younger Sachiko, celebrated for uniting couples through ancient compatibility methods.
I need to call my mother. She'll know if Sachiko was connected to our family.
His mother's voice trembled as she confirmed it. Sachiko was his grandmother's dearest friend and a renowned matchmaker.
Why didn't anyone tell me? What secret did they keep that's playing out now?
Yuji rushed to his apartment and dug out his grandmother's old photographs, his fingers shaking. There she was, his grandmother, young and laughing, with a woman whose eyes matched the fortune teller's.
It's her, the fortune teller. She's been in my grandmother's life all along. This isn't fate, it's a plan.
The fortune teller was no stranger. She was a ghost from his grandmother's past, and her schemes ran deeper than he ever imagined.
Reina, I know who the fortune teller really is. Sachiko Nakamura, my grandmother's best friend, a matchmaker. We were set up.
Your grandmother's friend? That old woman. She's known you all along?
All along. She orchestrated everything. Your job transfer, the notes, 4 years of planning just to throw us together.
But the connection we felt, it wasn't fake. You can't fake that.
Can't I? How much of it was just her pushing the right buttons? I can't trust anything now.
Reina's eyes glistened, but Yuji's face was set, a wall between them.
I am not the enemy, Yuji. I am as trapped in this as you are. Don't shut me out.
I need space. I can't look at you without seeing her scheme.
He stood abruptly, leaving the 2 fateful notes on the table.
Maybe it was all an illusion. Maybe I've been clinging to a fantasy.
Alone, In his apartment, Yuji opened the dusty shoebox of his grandmother's photographs. His hands trembled as he searched. Among the faded images, one stopped him cold. His grandmother, young and radiant, with the fortune teller beside her, both laughing.
This is proof. They were close enough to plan this together. My grandmother might have started it all.
He placed the photo next to his grandmother's memorial altar and knelt, his anger warring with a deep, aching love.
Grandmother, what did you do? Was this your final wish for me? I've been so angry at being manipulated, but maybe she just wanted to see me happy. I don't know what to feel.
The 2 notes from the fortune teller still lay on the cafe table, where he'd left them, but now they seemed like threads pulling him toward the truth.
I can't leave this unresolved. I'll go to Sachiko's address in the coastal town. I need answers, even if I go alone.
Without a word to Reina, he packed a small bag and slipped the photograph into his pocket. As he started his car and drove into the night, the image of his grandmother and Sachiko weighed on him, a blessing and a betrayal intertwined. Yuji's phone buzzed in the cup holder. Reina's name lit up the screen.
What is it? I'm not in the mood for another argument.
I've been carrying this note for 4 years. I'm coming with you to confront Sachiko.
This is between me and my family. You've been dragged in enough.
Look at this. My note has your name. We're bound by more than a scheme. I deserve answers too.
Her words hung in the air, and Yuji couldn't deny the truth in them.
Fine. Meet me at the diner off the highway. We'll leave at dawn.
An hour later, they sat in a quiet booth, the 2 notes and a worn road map spread between them.
Whatever her reasons, we're in this together now. We'll make her explain everything.
For the first time, the 2 notes didn't feel like chains, but like a fragile compass pointing toward the truth. At dawn, Yuji's car cut through the morning mist, leaving the city behind. Reina held the map across her lap, her gaze distant.
My grandmother passed when I was in college. Her last words to my mother were about wishing she could see me happily married.
All my life, I felt like I was waiting for something without knowing what. Maybe that's why I kept her note.
When I first saw you and heard your name, I felt something crack open inside me, even if it was a setup.
I know, it felt like recognizing a face from a dream. That's why I couldn't throw the note away.
For a long stretch of road, there was only the hum of the engine and a new, quiet understanding between them. By midday, the coastal town appeared ahead, red rooftops and a glint of sea beyond the hills.
We're almost there. Are you ready to face the woman who pulled our strings?
Number. But I need the truth, whatever it costs.
The car rolled into the quiet streets, and the house from the records drew closer with every passing second. The car came to a halt before a wooden house nestled behind a wild, colorful garden. Among the chrysanthemums, an elderly woman knelt, her hands moving gently with the earth. She lifted her head. In her eyes lay the same knowing stillness from the fortune teller's booth.
You found me faster than I expected. Please come inside. The tea is ready.
You admit it? You've been manipulating us from the start?
All questions will be answered. But let us not be rude. Tea first, then truth.
She led them through a sliding door into a serene tatami room. A low table held a steaming tea set and 3 waiting cups. They knelt, the decades-old floorboards creaking under the weight of unspoken history.
No more games, Sachiko. Why did you give us those notes, and what does my grandmother have to do with this?
Everything. This began with a promise I made to your grandmother on her deathbed. A promise to find you a suitable wife.
A deathbed promise. She really asked you to do this?
She held my hand and said, "Make sure Yuji isn't alone. Find him someone who will love him the way I loved his grandfather."
In her mind's eye, the hospital room reappeared, the faint beep of monitors, the grandmother's frail hand clutching hers.
I couldn't refuse. I've spent the last 30 years watching over your families, waiting for the right constellation to align.
Watching over us? How? We never even knew you existed.
I studied your personalities, your astrological charts, even your family histories. A traditional matchmaker's work is never truly done. I've united 100 couples in my time, but the two of you, I've never seen a more perfect match in all my years.
A perfect match. She's been pulling strings for decades. But is the result any less real?
Reina silently studied the old woman's unrepentant face. The fortune teller's charade now felt like a guardian's long vigil. Outside, the coastal wind rustled the bamboo, but inside, a new understanding settled around them like the lingering heat of the tea.
But I didn't just wait. I acted. This folder contains the evidence of everything I've done to bring you together.
Yuji opened the folder, revealing a stack of letters, transfer requests, and schedules spanning years. One letter read, "We recommend Reina for the lateral transfer to the main branch. Her family's service history speaks for itself."
I called in favors from people who owed me a debt, an old colleague in the personnel office, a former client on the hiring board.
4 years. You timed her graduation, her first job, even the department vacancy. This is a complete orchestration.
Reina's hand rose to her lips, her face pale. The invisible threads were now visible, and she felt the pull of a destiny she hadn't chosen.
So my whole career path was a lie? Were my choices ever really mine?
Your career is your own talent. I only nudged a few doors open. The rest, every promotion, every task, you earned yourself.
Silence fell again, thick with the magnitude of the revelation. The tea had gone cold, but no one moved to pour new cups.
Every step of this was crafted. But the feeling when I first saw her, that was real, wasn't it? Why go this far? A deathbed promise doesn't justify manipulating two people's entire lives.
Because I was right. Look at you two. Can you honestly deny there's something between you?
Yuji turned to Reina. Their eyes met, and in that suspended moment, the truth they'd both buried rose unbidden.
I see it in your faces. The same recognition I saw in the stars. You aren't strangers.
I want to deny it. But when I look at her, the anger fades. What is this?
Reina's hand trembled on the table, her silence speaking louder than any confession.
I can't. I've been holding on to a hope I didn't understand. But it feels like letting go of a dream.
Yuji pushed back from the table, the tatami mat creaking. He couldn't breathe in that room any longer. He stepped into the garden. The salty breeze, a sting of clarity. Reina followed, her footsteps hesitant on the stone path.
I don't know what's real anymore. But I know I don't want to walk away from you.
Sachiko appeared in the doorway, a lacquered wooden box cradled in her arms. Without a word, she knelt and opened it. From the box, she drew a rolled parchment, yellowed with age, and spread it across the grass. Intricate astrological charts, handwritten notes, and two names stood clear, Yuji and Reina. At the bottom, a signature penned in elegant, unwavering strokes, Yuji's grandmother's name. Yuji's legs gave way. He sank to his knees, a raw sound escaping his throat.
She planned it 30 years ago, before I even knew what love was.
She loved you so much that she wanted to make sure you found the right person.
He clutched the chart to his chest, as if holding a piece of the grandmother he never truly knew.
She wanted you happy, Yuji. And so did I. Everything was for this moment.
The chart lay between them, no longer a conspiracy but an heirloom of a love that spanned generations. Yuji helped Reina to her feet. They stepped away from the chart, the garden wall shielding them from Sachiko's gaze.
When you said your name that day, my heart stopped. I was terrified you were a trap, but I didn't want you to be a trap.
I thought it was a cosmic joke, but the way you looked at me, I'd never felt so seen, so real.
Maybe the stars pushed us here, but I am choosing this now. I am choosing you, if you'll have me.
Yes, not because of a note, not because of a chart, because when I am with you, I finally feel like I am home.
They stood for a long moment, foreheads nearly touching, a silent vow passing between them.
Sachiko, we're grateful for the push, but from now on, we write our own story.
That's all I ever wanted. Your grandmother's promise is fulfilled. The rest is yours.
They walked down the garden path and onto the beach, The sea, a silver mirror under the setting sun, and with the tide washing over their feet, they stepped into a future they'd chosen together. 2 years passed in a rhythm of shared coffee, late nights at the office, and quiet weekends.
You know, I never thanked you for checking my code that first week. You saved me from a disaster.
They found corners of the city they'd never explored, eating street food under festival lanterns.
Hey, remember when we thought the whole universe was conspiring against us?
Without noticing, they stopped questioning and started simply being together. Then, one spring afternoon, beneath a canopy of cherry blossoms, Yuji's hand trembled in his pocket.
Reina, every day with you feels like the proof my grandmother wanted me to find. Will you marry me?
Yes. 1,000 times, yes. Not because of any chart. Because you are my home.
She pulled him up and held him, the ring catching the light like a small, bright destiny. And in that moment, the last shadows of doubt dissolved, replaced by a future they were ready to write. The wedding day dawned clear over a garden draped in white blossoms. Yuji and Reina exchanged vows under a canopy of spring flowers. With rings on their fingers, they turned to face a crowd full of joyful tears.
I still can't believe you two originally thought it was a curse. Here is to the fortune teller. I'll never have to dare Yuji to see again.
The reception buzzed with laughter until a familiar figure in formal silk approached the newlyweds.
Yuji, Reina, I have one last gift to complete my promise.
Yuji unwrapped the frame with trembling hands, revealing the very chart that had started their journey. The compatibility chart, sealed with his grandmother's signature, now preserved behind glass.
I finally understand. This isn't just a chart. It's her love made tangible.
Reina leaned into him, and Sachiko bowed her head, her mission complete. And as the sun set over the celebration, the past and future finally stood together in peace. Before the night ended, Yuji carried the framed chart to a small memorial table set for his grandmother.
Thank you, grandmother. I know you are watching.
She'll always be with us.
They returned to the reception, where the music had turned slow and intimate.
I used to think fate was a lie. Now I think it's just love that hasn't been explained yet.
Then let's never explain it. Let's just live it.
And so they danced, unburdened by questions, wrapped in the quiet certainty of belonging. Weeks later, the chart hung in their new home, a familiar signature catching the last rays of sun. Beside it, a wedding photo and a small portrait of his grandmother completed the altar of their shared history. And in the golden stillness, the fortune teller's accidental name became the truest story of all.